Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome back to the second half of today's upload. Before we get into it, though, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, and my merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. The links to Patreon and PayPal are in the description below, my merch displayed directly under this video. Also, Dogman, Frightening Encounters, Volume 1, 2, and 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeffrey Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, the links to which are also in the description as well. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get on with today's second half of the upload. Shall we? All right, guys. It's another very interesting bit of information that I stumbled upon. A lot of really fascinating stuff. I watched the Psaki White House press briefing today. And it was strange because after reading this and kind of getting a feel of it, I started catching little things in that briefing, which was kind of odd. Anyway, let's get into this, though. The leader of the Illuminati is called the Pindar. The Pindar is a member of one of the 13 ruling Illuminati families and is always a male. The title Pindar is an abbreviated term for Pinnacle of the Draco, also known as the Penis of the Dragon. Symbolically, this represents the top of power, control, creation, penetration, expansion, invasion, and fear. The holder of this rank reports to the purebred reptilian leader in the inner earth. Recently, there have been reports that Marquis de Lebeau is the Pindar, but this is disinformation. The true current Pindar is the head of the Rothschild family, and has been for several hundred years. He is based in Germany near Frankfurt. In the late 70s, he oversaw the sister project to the Montauk Project, called Malda, or M-A-L-D-A. It's an anagram for Montauk, Alsace, Lorraine Dimensional Activation. This project was located near the city of Strasbourg, France, historically once a part of Germany. Interestingly, there is a winery on the east end of Long Island, not far from Montauk Point, called Pindar Vineyards. This wine is growing in popularity, gaining international accolades. This fits nicely into the plan, as this area will be part of the capital district of the Earth United Nations in the Empire State. Red wine is symbolic of the blood ingested by the reptilians. The wine can become sanctified, as it did in the Roman Catholic Church, a patsy for the reptilians. In the Catholic Church, wine replaced the blood in the ceremony. The Illuminati here on Earth have established a pyramid structure of control identical to the system that exists in the Draco Empire. The pyramid, with the reptilian eye located on the American $1 bill, is symbolic of this control structure. The eye is the cap of the pyramid, thus explaining why the original surface of the Great Pyramid in Egypt was capped in solid gold. The Pindar is represented by the gold cap on the pyramid. The next layer, or the eye on the pyramid, represents the 13 ruling families. They are as follows: Rothschilds, in parentheses, Bauer, Pindar. Next, Bruce. Next, the Cavendish family, in parentheses, Kennedy. Next, the de Medici family. Next, Hanover family. Habsburg family. Krupp family. Plantagenet family. Rockefeller family. Romanov family. Sinclair family. Warburg or Del Blanco family, Windsor or Sec Coburg Goth family. Each of the ruling 13 families is given an area on the earth and or particular function to fulfill on the earth. These particular functions include global finance, military technology, and development, mind control, religion, media. Each of the ruling 13 families has a council of 13 as well. The number 13 has great significance to them. They know that there are 12 types of energies that pass through the 10 aspects of God mind. The totality of the 12 energies equals the 13th energy. This is considered the most powerful knowledge. They also know that there are really 13 zodiac signs, not the commonly acknowledged 12. They have kept the 13th hidden for centuries because it is the sign of the dragon. They keep the qualities and traits of this sign secret to avoid giving away clues to the reptilian mind pattern. The next layer is the second in command families, who do the support work for the Pindar and the 13 ruling families. While all of the 13 ruling family members are shapeshifters, all members of the 300 supporting families are not. They do, however, all have a high percentage of reptilian DNA. They are known as the Committee of 300, which we will explore very soon. These families include such notable names as the Agnelli family, the Beale family, the Bell family, Bush, Cameron, Campbell, Carnegie, Carrington, Coolidge, Delano, Douglas, Ford, Gardner, Graham, Hamilton, Harriman, Hines, Lindsay, Mullen, Montgomery, Morgan, Norman, Oppenheimer, Rhodes, Roosevelt, Russell, Schiff, Seaton, Spencer, Stewart, Taft, and Wilson. There are many others. The Committee of 300 use many well-known institutions to accomplish their goals, including the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderbergs, the Trilateral Commission, Club of Rome, the Royal Institute for International Affairs, the Mafia, CIA, NSA, Mossad, Secret Service, International Monetary Fund, Federal Reserve, Internal Revenue Service, Interpol, just to name a few. All of these are private organizations or corporations set up as public service devices, but this is far from the truth. The Illuminati structure also creates artificial countries to further their goals. Examples of these are the United States, Switzerland, Kuwait, the Soviet Union, Panama, Israel, Italy, Yugoslavia, the United Kingdom, most of Black Africa, all of the Arab countries, and all of Central and South America. These nations were created to amass wealth for the ruling families and their supporters to hide or keep the wealth, and to create unstable conditions necessary to start wars or increase military budgets. Switzerland was created as a neutral banking center, so the Illuminati families would have a safe place to keep their funds without fear of destruction from war and prying eyes. The United States was established with 13 colonies, one for each Illuminati family. The original flag had 13 stars and still has 13 stripes. The eagle, the symbol of the United States, holds 13 arrows in its talons. The United States is actually a corporation asset of the Virginia Company that was established in 1604 in England with direct involvement of the Rothschild. The finances of the Rothschilds were necessary to fund the exploration and exploitation of North American continent. The assets of the Virginia Company, including the United States, are owned by the Holy Roman Empire via the Vatican. This occurred in 1213 when King James gave all English assets to the reptilian Pope Innocent III. Executorship remains with the British royal family, but actually ownership lies with the Roman Catholic Church. The American continent is not named for Amerigo Vespucci, as you learned in school. The Illuminati would never name a continent, actually two continents, after an Italian map maker. The name is actually a combination of words. Am is the Hebrew word for people. Am, A-M-E, is also the command form of the Spanish/Latin verb to love. E-R-I or A-R-I is the Hebrew term for lion. R-I-C-A is the feminine form of the Spanish word for rich. K-A is the ancient Egyptian word for soul or spirit force within a body. There are two layers of meanings. The ancient Hebrew/Egyptian translates to say the people of the lion with spirit force, hence the pyramid and the all-seeing eye on the $1 bill. The Latinized version translates to say loves riches in a feminized physical reality way. This gives an idea of what they had in mind. Take this step further, and one sees the mixture of the feminine Latin eagle ideas with masculine Hebrew lion ideas. The symbolic statement of America is that it is a combination of Lemura and Atlantis, the blend of the human in Luray with reptilian Draco. Perhaps the anagram LSD, an Illuminati-created drug, has the hidden meaning as well. Luray, Cyrus, Draco. The combination of these three civilizations would produce the most powerful technological empire ever known. In 1776, the creation of the United States as an independent nation coincided with the declaration into public existence of the official Illuminati organization by member Adam Weishaupt in Bavaria. Publicly, Weishaupt appeared to be determined to create an organization comprised of the European elite that would uplift mankind. Of course, this was part of the Illuminati global ceremony. The creation of the United States and the Illuminati global ceremony. The creation of the United States and the Illuminati organization were artificial beings for public consumption. The United States was the device to be used to bring the Illuminati into public acceptance. Current Illuminati members believe that Adam Weishaupt was a look-alike for George Washington, and it is actually Weishaupt's image that appears on the $1 bill. George Washington was a wealthy slave and plantation owner. He is known to have blanked some of his female slaves and used some of his male slaves in ritualistic ceremonies. There are many people of the black race who can literally trace their genetics to the founding fathers. George Washington also ordered the building of the Montauk Lighthouse in 1796. This lighthouse included an underground area for supply storage in case of a British coastline invasion. If he had only known what that area would become. Or did he? 13 ruling Illuminati families constantly vie for control amongst themselves. During this time period, the Spanish, British, and French Illuminati all fought to win control over North and South America. The Rothschild kept these Illuminati factions in line by sending the Hessians to monitor the situation. The leaders enjoyed these war games, pitting one against the other to see who would win. The hundreds of thousands of lives lost was meaningless to them. The manifest destiny of the United States was created to expand the territory of Anglos at the expense of the native populations. As always, the Illuminati seek to destroy native people and their cultures. This is an attempt to destroy their knowledge of God-mind, as well as the possibility that the natives will impart this information onto others. Especially important is their need to eliminate native cultures with ancient knowledge of Atlantis and Luray. The natives that gave them the most problems was the Cherokee, because this tribe retained most of their Atlantean knowledge, even accessing the bear/Bigfoot frequency for information. Just really quick interjection. How friggin' cool is that? There's so much cool stuff in this, but that is so cool. The bear/Bigfoot frequency. Damn! Anyway, moving on. For this reason, these people were uprooted from their homeland in the southern Appalachian Mountains and forcibly marched to Oklahoma on what is now known as the Trail of Tears. Many died along the way. Only a remnant remained in North Carolina, Tennessee, and Georgia. In the north, the vast Iroquois/Mohawk nation was disbanded. The Montauk, direct descendants of the Atlanteans, who call their leader Pharaoh, were systematically eliminated. The Rothschild were aggressively involved with the slave trade from Africa, importing slaves to North and South America, as well as the Caribbean. They were very careful not to import blacks from the eastern areas of Ethiopia or Sudan, where the descendants of Solomon were located, instead concentrating on Western and Central African for the slave populations. These areas had a pure mixture of Anunnaki and Simian genetics and the programming desirable for the Illuminati agenda. The Rothschild decided that splitting the United States colonies would double their profits, so they publicly created and financially supported the Civil War. The Civil War was actually a global ceremony ritual to bring slavery to its next level. This war allowed the North to win and publicly abolish slavery. The best slaves are the ones who do not realize that they are slaves. This alleviates rebellion and resistance. This was the status immediately following the Civil War. Blacks in the South are still slaves. There is still segregation, even in the North. The Illuminati still considers blacks to be second and third-class citizens. Only now the slavery is subtle and masked. Note, those in power consider us all useless eaters, and have used divide and conquer techniques against us to keep us from uniting. What we all need to keep in mind is that once the bottom of the pyramid unites, the rest will collapse. Since the Civil War, there have been other staged wars that entrenched the trend towards globalization. The Spanish-American War of 1898 to 1899 acquired more land for the American Illuminati, placing a greater portion of the Earth's surface under American jurisdiction. World War I was designed to change the map of Europe as well as test germ warfare and chemical warfare for further use. This coincided with the worldwide influenza outbreak, which helped with global population, making it easier to control. World War I also laid the foundation for the German role in the next war. World War II was a test of the final globalization and extermination projects. It was also designed to test mind control machinery, to test and use fluoride, which deadens brain activity and slows resistance to authority, to experiment with slave labor camps and study the development of resistance, to teach the masses to spy and report on one another. World War II brought three primary goals of the Illuminati to fruition. The first was the hidden Illuminati symbols that brought to public attention from the underground strongholds in Tibet and Egypt, such as the swastika and the Ankh. The second was the creation of the State of Israel as a foundation for the New World religion. The last was the creation of nuclear weapons as a part of the Illuminati global ceremony. During World War II, the Germans helped to perfect slaves as means of transmitting information amongst the elite. These slaves can be either male or female, who are sexually programmed with the Wilhelm Reich procedures, which are illegal in the United States, but used by the Illuminati and government. These slaves deliver messages and keep programmed sleepers in line. The slaves downloaded with messages or functions throughout various acts, drugs, which can be released by repeating the same act with a target or person to be activated. They are trained to know their target trigger words and trigger events to activate, delete, and change programming. In recent years, several women have come forward claiming to be these kind of slaves of the global recognized political figures. Many were used as information couriers between high-level male Illuminati. Usually lookalikes of public figures are used in the programming as a focal point for these slaves. The slave is put through a desensitizing process, so there is no pleasure in the act. It is merely a duty performed. Many of the slaves become promiscuous, repeatedly having with other people who look like the intended target. It is a sad life. By the end of World War II, one of 3 major Illuminati global rituals was accomplished. This was the nuclear explosion that took place in 1945 at the 33rd parallel as the test for nuclear attack on Japan. This explosion was symbolic, representing the simultaneous creation and destruction of matter and energy. The year was symbolic as well. In numerology, 1 plus 9 equals 10, representing the 10 aspects of God-mind. The number 10 further breaks down to 1 plus 0 equals 1, representing a new beginning. Continuing, 4 plus 5 equals 9, representing the end of the cycle. Symbolically, the entire event represented the end of the cycle to prepare for the new beginning, using the new creation of God-mind out of destruction. Additionally, a cylinder containing material still not explained by the government was trucked into the nuclear explosion testing. The cylinder was made of pure steel and allegedly was the same physical dimensions as the Kabbalah describes for the creation of golems. Kabbalah is an ancient Hebrew metaphysics that has been a staple for the Illuminati for millennia. Golems are artificial beings that are used as slave force. It is highly probable that this was a symbolic ritual for the creation of the Society of Golems. World War II also allowed the European/American Illuminati to destroy the Japanese Illuminati desires of global domination. The Japanese royal family, represented by Emperor Hirohito, had always been ostracized as non-legitimate by the ruling 13 families. The Japanese claimed to be direct descendants of the Lemurian purebred reptilian. The European/American Illuminati claim that the Japanese Illuminati are descendants from a lower species in the Draco hierarchy. This lower species is considered a working class without a political clout or influence. The European/American Illuminati also claim the East Indians are lower species in the Draco hierarchy. The 13 ruling families considered light skin and hair to be elite characteristic. On January 17, 1994, Japan sent a seismic event to California. Exactly 1 year later, on January 17, 1995, the city of Kobe, Japan, was seismically destroyed. Kobe was home of the Japanese electromagnetic weaponry centers. The European-American Illuminati will not tolerate thorns in their sides. The destruction of Japan and its royal family will continue in the coming months and years. Every year, the Illuminati hold meetings to plan events of the coming year to accomplish their main objective, formulated millennia ago, and global control and domination. In the 1850s, they pinpointed their target date for complete domination with the agenda called Plan 2000. This has been since revised to 2003. The fiscal election of George W. Bush Jr. to office is a key sign that they are on target. The public lesson of the United States president election of 2000 is that the citizens do not vote for anyone. Even the Illuminati are now finding it increasingly difficult to conceal their plans. I'm guessing now that date has been changed to Agenda 2030. Makes sense, right?